We all have psychic abilities, every single person, yes, including you watching this. Our psychic abilities are like an extra sense that has been intentionally suppressed by the system, because if we were all taught to harness and foster our abilities from the beginning of our lives, the world will look a lot different than it does right now. The suppression, the repression, it's all intentional. We've been taught that it's something that is very distant or reserved for a select few, when in reality, we all have psychic abilities. Yes, even you watching this. And I hope by the end of this video, you will have an awareness of how you can start to tap into those psychic abilities if you so choose. In this video specifically, we'll focus on how we can use meditation as an intentional tool to harness our psychic abilities by getting us more in touch with our minds, our bodies, our souls, and our spirits. And the first thing you want to do is figure out the type of meditation that actually works for you, where you don't feel like you're trying to force yourself into meditation, because that's counterintuitive. It's going against exactly what the meditation is trying to offer to you as medicine, fulfillment, awareness, etc. Most people believe that meditation only looks like that traditional meditation where you're doing the mudras, you're sitting in lotus, and you're closing your eyes, maybe you're going Om. Most people, when they think of meditation, they think of the monks on the mountains doing just that. And that is a very traditional and very potent form of meditation, but I would argue that that form of meditation is the hardest form of meditation, almost to be utilized by the masters in its correct form. But if you're just starting out with meditation and your mind is still very heavy, and it almost feels like as you're walking around every day, you are walking around with like a load on your head and you don't even realize it, but your head is guiding you rather than your body guiding you forward, that form of meditation is going to be very hard to start off on the jump. So the best thing you can do is discover the type of meditation that gets you more in your body and out of your head. Or if anything, just helps you to clear enough space in your head so you are able to tap into the invisible strings of all of those clouds that are in your head and figure out where they are actually stemming from within your body. So for me, dancing is my main form of meditation. I go into a trance when I dance. That has been my way I connect with spirit since I was a wee tyke, since I was just a bebe. And dancing is the easiest thing because we can all dance. We are all dancers. We all have bodies. We can all do it however we feel we most naturally express our movement in order to tap us into our bodies. But if you don't really feel comfortable dancing, if you don't like dancing, if for whatever reason, you could do jujitsu, you could go on a walk. It's just some sort of movement meditation that gets you out of your head and again into your body. Or if not out of your head completely, just brings enough awareness to the clouds, to the fog that is so dense up here. So again, I'm going to repeat this. You can feel where the invisible strings of that fogginess connects to different areas of your body, because all of the fogginess and cloudiness and heaviness in your head is directly rooted to something that we have been storing and repressing within our bodies. So be experimental in finding out which way meditation works for you, because again, to start off in lotus being completely still is very difficult. It's very difficult, and that's where you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if you are not used to any form of traditional meditation, because the point of meditation is to help clear the fog, right? But when the fog is very dense and you don't allow yourself the opportunity of even any movement, and you're just forcing yourself to sit through the fog, it gets really uncomfortable really quickly, and if you're not used to it, you're going to do it one time for 5 minutes and say, never again, that's not for me. And meditation's for everybody, again, because meditation helps us connect to ourselves, which is for everybody, right? So start with movement. However that movement feels most natural to you, however that movement helps you get out of your mind and into your body. And as you start the dance, or as you continue the walk, as you do your jujitsu or yoga or whatever it may be, as you get that fog to clear enough so you can actually feel into your body, you'll start to be able to recognize, again, those little strings that connect the fog and the density to somewhere in your body. And your job, once you start actually feeling, once the awareness moves from the fog and the density in the head down to wherever it's landing in your body, whether it's your throat or your elbow or your stomach or your womb or your butt or your legs or your toes, there's somewhere in your body that fog is representing some sort of repressed something. And your job, once you have the clarity enough and awareness enough to anchor back into your body, is not to run away from the discomfort. The only way that you can clear yourself enough to actually open up to the psychic abilities you have within you is to not run away from the discomfort. Because distraction is what the system fed us in order to prevent us from tapping into our psychic abilities. Distraction that's anchored by survival. We are so focused on our everyday of the external that even when we have a moment to ourselves, we don't want to bring it internal. We want to distract ourselves from the hard day that we had. And that's set up for a reason. So it gets really scary and really uncomfortable when you decide radically to go within and you feel all of those things that you have not looked at or seen or talked about or thought about in probably years, months, decades. And our natural reflex when we feel discomfort in the body is to be like, oh, nope, that's it. Pick up the phone, let's scroll TikTok, let's turn on a TV show, let's go clean the house, let's do anything else, rather than just sit with the discomfort and try to figure out what it's trying to teach us. But that's the way that you not only help to tap yourself into your psychic abilities and awaken those within you, but also it's a preventative measure to prevent chronic illnesses and diseases and issues with your body further down the line. Because the thing with repression is that something traumatic happens to us, or something that, even if it's not as dramatic as traumatic, it's just something we really didn't like happen to us at this point in our life. And rather than facing it and dealing with it and learning from it and integrating it and moving the fuck on and not letting it fester, we sometimes just shut the door, close it up in that dark closet so we never have to look at it again. That's none of my business. It happened. It makes me cringe. I'm embarrassed. I don't like it. Whatever your reasoning is, you shut it behind that closed door and you forget about it. But think of that thing as like a potato, right? Unlike other fruits and vegetables that rot when it doesn't have any sunlight or anything like that, any nutrients, the potato, those sprouts are gonna grow. And they will continue to grow for eternity, seeking soil, seeking sunlight. They do not stop their growing. So you shut that thing behind the closed door, right? Thinking it's out of sight, out of mind, and maybe you do really well to forget about it because you're so distracted by external. You do really well to forget about it. But those sprouts continue to grow, and eventually that closet is nothing but potato sprouts until eventually the sprouts are so large that they burst through the door. And by that point, you can't even see the potato. You can't even see where the sprouts came from, the root cause of the sprouts bursting that door open, because at that point, it's turned into a much larger problem that's not only affecting that small area of the body where you decided to close that door, but now it's reaching out to other areas, to your joints, to your ligaments, to your bloodstream. It's going everywhere. That's what happens when we repress things within our bodies. So it's not even just about tapping into meditation so you can awaken your psychic gifts, which is a great thing to do so you can learn to navigate the external world more readily because you have more faith and trust in yourself on the internal, which makes all of this out here a hell of a lot easier, let me tell you. But it's not just about that. It's about getting to the root, getting to the potato before the sprouts even have a moment to form, before they even get more than an inch off of the potato, when you can still see the root cause of the problem. And then taking that potato out, loving it, and letting it nourish you rather than letting it become your undoing. Because ultimately, all of those things that happen in our lives that feel traumatic, that feel dramatic, that make us cringe, that make us feel uncomfortable, that make us not want to be seen or perceived or anything, all of those things have a root lesson. They have a root purpose. And if we shut those root lessons and purposes away behind the closed doors, we are therefore shutting a part of ourselves that are begging to be integrated behind those closed doors. And again, we do really good. We're really good at distracting ourselves. We're really good at focusing external in order to avoid everything that's going on internally. But if you want to grow and continue to be healthy and have your vitality well into your 60s, 70s, 80s, beyond that, it's about not allowing the repression to create something much larger because you are too afraid to face that little potato. Because that little potato internally, imagine just a whole potato like sitting in here. It's not a small feat, right? A whole potato in the skin of your arm. That's not a small feat. But if you are able to sit with the discomfort and bring awareness to the discomfort and find in your body where that discomfort is living and allow it to slowly dissipate. So it's no longer discomfort. It's now something that you are ready to integrate within you. It won't be shut behind closed doors and it won't bring you those chronic issues later in life. I'm out of time. I hope this helped. Happy meditating. Maybe we'll talk more on this later. Probably. That's my whole channel. Anyway, thanks for being here. Love y'all. Bye. Happy potato hunting.